BK. I'm the Scoop Lionel Howard with the TWF World Champion, Dustin Michaels. Dustin, welcome to GCW.
Why am I here? I mean, honestly, this is a waste of my time.
Well, you're here because you are the TWF champion, and we want to find out who you defeated for that belt.
Well, it's a big list. I was in a grueling street fight that went on for 35 minutes, and I wrestled my hardest in that match. But a lot of people may not like me, and I really don't care. But I beat Jeremy Cruz. I beat the new hotness, Chris Mayne. I beat Everybody Loves Darkness. I beat Darkness. I beat all three of them in one match. One match for this title. And then the next week, I beat Juggalo Johnny Blaze.
Well, Dustin, who do you see as your #1 contender for that belt?
There's really no competitors. I mean, everybody's in my group. All the good competitors in my group. I mean, what do I got to worry about? I mean, come on. I am Mr. Friday Night Dustin Michaels. What do I have to worry about?
I tell you what, on that lovely note, I'm going to end this. For Mr. Friday Night, the TWF World Champion Dustin Michaels, I'm the Scoop Lionel Howard. Thank you so much for watching GCW. Welcome back to GCW on WBEK. I'm the Scoop Lionel Howard along with Old School Johnny Rocket. And we're for this very special edition of Bell Time. And we are joined by Lightning Joey Watts in the back. A very special edition of Bell Time. But Johnny Rocket, this edition of Bell Time is covering champions we've seen in the Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina area.
Hey, you know, the great thing about there's so much rich history here in the South. Going back to the late 1800s, wrestling always being a very good, popular entertainment source of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina.
That's right. Right here in Augusta, where the GCW studios are, we saw the Southern Lightweight title back in the 30s.
Well, I don't think any of us personally saw that, but it happened.
CDB might have.
Well, CDB might have. CD, are you watching this show? But also, we saw the Southern Lightweight Heavyweight title, light heavyweight, and that's a term you don't see today for your champions. Except the cruiserweight, maybe.
Light heavyweight, that's maybe like me and a hot air balloon.
Well, maybe so, maybe so.
Yeah.
But again, that title was won here in Augusta, and we saw matches with that title.
Oh, wow. See, Augusta, hotbed for wrestling.
The NWA also had the Georgia Heavyweight Championship.
Georgia Heavyweight Championship.
NWA, of course, you know, fans remember NWA then became WCW. And what a powerhouse that was.
Territories, especially big here in the South. The NWA title fought for lots of times in Georgia, North Carolina, a few times in South Carolina.
You know what a lot of people don't realize this was that the NWA was actually a governing body of otherwise independent promotions, such as Jim Crockett Promotions, which that's what became WCW. A lot of people don't realize that the NWA also had jurisdiction of world-class championship wrestling, where the Von Erichs were. And like you said, the champion, they could go from territory to territory defending that belt. Ric Flair went down to Texas many times to defend the NWA title in world class.
Boy, I can't believe Joey Watts is so full of knowledge here tonight. Again, fans, we said a very special edition of Bell Time.
But of course, you know, that NWA championship, like he was saying, anywhere from Mid-Atlantic wrestling in North Carolina all the way down to championship wrestling in Florida, Memphis, Tennessee, Texas, Louisiana, across the South, and actually even up north. What a lot of people don't know in reverse, though, is the AWA, which is mostly known as a Northern Territory, actually had an AWA South champion as well, a division in the South.
Really, I tell you what, you always learn something new here on Bell Time. Get closer to home, Macon had its own share of title belts as well.
The Macon Heavyweight Championship, believe it or not, back in the day was a pretty popular place to wrestle, and a lot of names. Who were some of those people that wrestled for that Macon belt?
Well, there was also the Macon belt, and there was the Macon tag belts.
The tag belts.
Such names as Bob Armstrong, James Dillon, Mr. Wrestling 2, Ole Anderson, Dick Slater. Fans around our age will certainly remember those wrestlers of many years ago.
James J. Dillon, we just talked about him on the manager special.
That's right.
We talked about him being a wrestler beforehand.
That's right. And there's a connection there with Dick Slater when we talked about managers a while ago, because Dirty Dick Slater was married to Luna Vachon. Boy, wouldn't you like being at that wedding? Who would know what the reception would be like, huh?
And even more odd than a Macon championship belt, Columbus, Georgia.
That's right.
Heavyweight championship belt and a tag belt, which I think they had maybe one set of champions. But irregardless, there was at one time NWA Columbus heavyweight champion. And when you talk about these particularly these Georgia belts, the Georgia heavyweight championship, and the light heavyweight championship, those were actually around until the early 90s. The NWA reinstituted those until NWA Wildside folded a couple years ago. Those belts, the NWA Georgia heavyweight belt, other than a 10-year period, has been around that whole time. And a lot of people don't know that.
That's right. That's right. There's a lot of history right here in Augusta. Matches used to be at the Bell Auditorium.
Well, like you were saying, the what was it? The light heavyweight, the Georgia light heavyweight belt, was only ever wrestled for here in Augusta, Georgia.
That's right. So a little bit of history. Little bit of history right here in Augusta for you wrestling fans out there.
Grandma Watts used to go down to those Bell Auditorium shows. Her and Sally used to go down there together. And
really,
the old stereotype of the old lady on the walker spitting tobacco, getting drunk, heckling the wrestlers. Well, that's where that all started right there.
That was his mom.
Get down, Grandma. Get down downtown.
She was probably there for that Harley Race Tommy Rich match back in '81.
That's right.
You can actually find that on YouTube of all places now.
And not only YouTube, but on the GCW YouTube is one of our favorites.
We're going to have it right here.
And we're going to have it on the show in the future. So you can actually watch it on TV.
That's right. I tell you what, fans, GCW always delivers the product to the wrestling fan.
So one thing that was exciting when in our research, we noticed the belts in Georgia. Particularly, I believe it was the Macon belt. And this is one thing I found interesting since we just recently saw these two wrestle a few weeks ago in CWA. Concurrent champions were Tommy Rich and the Masked Superstar.
Get that jack.
Of that belt.
And how many years later here are they meeting?
Here are they. We saw them wrestle just, or more like stumble, bumble, mumble, but it was still exciting to see them in the ring.
And you see old school Johnny Rocket living up to his name. He's getting excited about the old school wrestlers.
Hey, but Rich hasn't lost anything.
No.
Including his waistline.